Testing. Oh, there. Good morning, everyone. Hi. Please bear with me for a moment as I set up the backup live streaming from my phone. Maybe. Aha. This says that another broadcast is going on the channel. Are we broadcasting now? No. You're going to try again? You try again. Okay. It's not wrong for me to, I want to be Title your broadcast. Here we go.
Robert, while you're fiddling around with this, can I make an announcement?
Sure.
Good morning, everyone. It turns out that we only have one volunteer for the children's program today, so somebody for the first hour. So give some thought to see if you feel called to volunteer for the second hour from 11 to noon. It would be really appreciated. So just, I'll check in before Jim starts doing John. You will? You will? Excellent. Thank you very, very much.
Well, hello. Uh-oh, bad hair day. And these jowls, geez, it's... I think it's working. Okay. Well, it's sort of, it does not do a nice job on my face, though.
That's it.
That's it. Well, I'll set this up and we'll... It's aging. Oh, good. Well, I think this is working. We do our best with it. I wouldn't fiddle while you're all sitting here, but about 100 people or more view this within a week, so it's a good thing to do. Getting a lot of ringing in the microphone too. I'm going to turn that down a bit. All right, turn this way. Do not fall. Oh, look, I've got Jim now, too. Mm-hmm. Does that cut me? Yes. Turn that down a little bit. Test, test one. All right. Well, good morning. How wonderful to get to meet with you this morning and to have the support that we offer one another in practice. Hello to those of you who might be joining us out there. Please take a moment to either just stay quiet or turn to your neighbor and introduce yourself and speak to them about something for which you're grateful in this moment. Just a 2 or 3 minute connection, please. Turn to a neighbor and
grateful to be here. How are you?
what a chatty bunch. Maybe it's true that we really do need one another. One of the conscious intentions with the foundation or formation of PIMC is that we really need Sangha, community, a place to practice and have Dharma conversation, help pick ourselves up when we fall down. Who's here for the first time today? 1, 2, 3. Lots. So, it's been traditional in the Buddhist world for 2,600 years to do something that's called taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And one of the things I'm going to be speaking about today is the utter impermanence of life. And since everything's changing so much, in what can we take refuge? So it was recommended since the time of the Buddha to take refuge in being awake, to take refuge in that which knows. And there's something very, I mean, every time I think about it or speak about it, it's so strange that we can be awake, that we can be aware. Like right now, be aware of seeing. How do you do that? It's so strange and seems kind of miraculous. So taking refuge in that awakeness, which is the Buddha, and in what is discovered with that awakeness, which is, among other things, impermanence, but also love and compassion. And then taking refuge in community, this local community of this morning, this community here, the PIMC community, and the community of those who've practiced before us. and awakened, and then I like to include really the community of all life. There are so many of us, and I'm pretty convinced that there really is only one consciousness that comes out through different apparent individuals. So taking refuge in that seems very comforting to me. So please join in. There's a modern rendition of the refuges created by Betsy Rose. I was thinking Betsy Ross. It's a slightly different. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya. And once more, I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya. I can't remember where it was, but I heard recently about a teaching where the teacher asked everyone to leave their phones on. Just to see. Want to try it? No, let's keep it as quiet as we can. So as humans have done now for thousands of years, we stop. We sit. And as every single one of us has done since the moment our mother could no longer breathe for us, the body breathes. And that means that there's an expansion in the chest and abdomen, and back and sides. That the body does all by itself. And this breath occurs always and only right here, now, in the present moment. Which means that in any moment that awareness is in the sensations in the body of breathing, you are actually not in the trance of everyday life. You're not in the trance of the personality. There's just awareness and breathing in and breathing out. And then, of course, the mind wanders. It wanders into the past and future. It wanders into the stories of our life, the worries, the plans, the judgments. This approach to spiritual life, this approach to life, is profoundly rooted in non-violence. Buddha called it ahimsa. Non-violence, non-coercion. All the work is done through awareness. The application of a little concentration. So when you discover the mind to be wandering, be really gentle. No violence, no hurry. Come back to the breathing in, the sensations in the body of breathing in and out. there is a simple and life-changing teaching that is attributed to Ajahn Chah of the Thai forest tradition, though it may come from much earlier than him. If you want to bring your practice into perfect balance, to do it, quote, skillfully, these words describe it. This moment is like this. The body is like this, the mind is like this. So it could be a mind of great concentration and ease and tranquility, or it could be a mind of anxiety and fear, or jealousy, or hatred, confusion. It is like it is. And to be aware of that is, in a way, the goal of practice, to be alive and aware of what's happening in the present moment. It's like this. Each breath has a beginning. It has a lifetime which consists of beginning, rising, 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 expanding of chest and abdomen, decelerating, pausing, contracting, contracting, until it's gone. Then there's a pause, and then the journey starts over again. How much, how intimately can awareness be present with breathing in and breathing out? In the same way, how intimately can awareness be present in those moments When the mind is off worrying about something or planning or just going dull. At times when the mind becomes more docile or quiet, we could expand the field of awareness to include the entire body. So there's a body sitting here. With so much life, from the face and the head into the shoulders and arms and hands and torso and pelvis and legs. There's coolness and there's warmth. And at the center of this, there's breathing in and breathing out. It's fine to abide in the whole body and be aware of it breathing. This moment is like this. You might discover that there's some pleasure, a pleasure experience in the body, in which case, why not spend a little while there? Or there could be a pain, an unpleasant sensation. Learning to open to and abide, bear with the unpleasant is one essential doorway to freedom. It's unpleasant. It's unpleasant and it's okay. Ultimately, it's not personal. Or perhaps simply staying gently, lovingly, attentively with breathing in and breathing out. And there's another variation attributed to the Buddha all that time ago. And that is to remain attentive to the sensations of breathing in and breathing out. And upon breathing in, using some loving kindness mantra like, may I be happy. Upon breathing out, may all beings be happy. May I be free from fear. May all beings be free from fear. Or whatever mantram is a good fit for you in the moment. If you had a mala or some beads, you could observe the body breathing in with, may I be happy. Breathing out, may all beings be happy. Bead. Move your thumb and forefinger to the next bead. These are strategies that have to do with strengthening concentration. And they too are done very gently. No violence. There's no help, no place for violence in practice at all. Even self-hatred heals ultimately through love, not through harshness. So being with this mysterious breathing in and breathing out. This moment is like this. And please now, allow awareness to open in your feet. Notice the life there. In your legs and pelvis. The pressure of the buttocks in the chair or the cushion. The life of the hands and the arms. The shoulders and the torso. The neck and the jaw and the cheeks. And the eyes and the scalp and the forehead. And the ears. It's alive, isn't it? And there's no need to hold out or push away any sounds like this voice or any of the sounds. They all dance to the same truth of impermanence, beginning and ending. Please notice whatever mood is present right now. Moods color our perceptions radically. It's so freeing as we learn to observe mood as a phenomenon as autonomous as the weather. And please now allow awareness to come into the place in the body we think of as my eyes. Notice eyes, their aliveness. And then noticing the intention for the eyes to open, to let them open. And then operationalize that. They don't open by themselves. They open through intention and will. Activity, seeing begins. Seeing and knowing it. And then perhaps, maybe your body wants to stretch a little bit. But don't do it without noticing the intention and then how does it move and what guides it. Please raise your hand if you had more than 4% wandering mind. How about 80? Be honest. Wanders a lot, doesn't it? And it doesn't help to start a war with it. Fact is, every time the mind wanders, there's this opportunity for awareness to wink back on. And how that happens, I have no idea. But it does. And then that winking on awareness develops over time and becomes more and more of the psychic economy. So there's more moments of awareness. Hence more moments of being alive, consciously alive. Hence more awareness of our psychological emotional states and our behaviors. And as I am wont to say, I know of nothing more powerful than we can do for world peace, planetary weather change, love in our families. That this is the foundation. That we actually become more loving, hence our actions are more loving. Less coercive, less demanding. So, Mr. Dalton, are you... Well, let me just say, for those of you that are here for the first time, From here, Jim is going to lead us in a raucous, what's it called? When they get the heavy beat music, it's like a cycling, some heavy metal movement. Then Avi will do some announcements, and then I will be back. And then at noon, a little before noon, the children will come in and we'll do a closing ceremony. And then there's tea and a few goodies and some really fine people to make connection with in the living room. Okay? I could surprise you sometime. Dun, dun, dun.
So it's now about 11 o'clock. If there was somebody who was able to go down to the children's program and do an hour down there, that would be really, really appreciated. So thank you.
Okay. So we stand and get in touch with our feet and maybe move the center of gravity back and forth a little bit. Just let the weight move into one leg, you let the heel come up, and then the weight goes over to the other side. And there's a response in the body. The whole body knows how to stay upright. If we sink into the knees and lift the arms, we can start a program called Shabashi. It's about 70 years since they started using this routine in Chinese medicine, with the idea of softening the shoulders, softening the wrists, releasing tension. They noticed that most humans are living in a sea of tension that causes all sorts of adverse situations in the health, in the body, and in the mind. And so making a deliberate habit of getting up and opening the limbs and opening the hands, opening the breath, this time opening the rib cage so we get more breath. And realizing that the breath has been coming and going for your entire life without much effort on your part. So there's something about the intelligence of the body that says effortless steadiness is a good thing. To make it as effortless and steady and rhythmic as possible harmonizes all the different aspects of movement. Some of it's nerve signals, some of it's muscles and ligaments and tendons, bones. Let's reach overhead and open the shoulders that way. And then sink over to one side and then come across the sky with a paintbrush. So as we're lifting, we're breathing in. As we're descending, we're breathing out. And that rhythm cascades through all the cells of the body. More oxygen, less oxygen. More life, releasing to make room for more life. Then releasing both arms. Cross the wrists and come up the center. And separate clouds. And somehow, the right hand knows what the left hand is doing and stays in sync with it. Once we practice this a little bit, it doesn't take very long, a few seconds, there's some sort of communication between apparently separate parts of the body. Then someone says, turn, lift the back hand so it's facing forward and the front hand facing up, and push and pull, and suddenly there's that same communication. The right hand knows the speed of the left, and the protocol at the end of the stroke, there's a reverse, palm up, palm forward. So the intelligence of the body takes over, and we observe the flow of awareness out from the body towards the front, into the body from the surrounding areas. Sinking, we can turn a big circle, aware of all the little tendons and ligaments that get stretched and released. Again, breathing in as we come up, cooperating with the expanded rib cage, and then giving it a rest, and then opening it and giving it a rest. Simple things keep us relaxed and happy. Offering a piece of fruit to the sun is how they describe this movement. It's very hard to be depressed or grumpy if you're offering a piece of fruit to the sun. How does the hand get up there? And how does it get back just in time for the takeoff of the other one? There's a harmony in the whole nervous system. Turning, gazing at the moon. Releasing the breath as we come down, drawing in, releasing. Hearing the squeaking boards. The sensitive nervous system is taking energy in all the time, floating in this ocean of chi. That's chi, not cheese. Somebody asked me why I was floating in cheese. Stretch. Move towards the corner and then release. So it's an out breath. Sense of agency, moving across. It has a beginning and an ending, and there's this tiny little sense of accomplishment. And it doesn't happen all day long. Only when I stop and set up proper rhythm. And then reaching across, focus on the palm of the hand, let the other palm face the earth underneath, and move across like a cloud in the sky with a shadow trailing underneath. Switch and come back. And the images we hold in our heads have an impact on the body. Becoming a cloud, aware of its partner down below in the shadow, we focus on the image, and it steadies the mind. It gladdens the mind. We have a taste of concentration, the body and mind together. And then, hopefully, several times during the day, some other activity, reaching up to a shelf or reaching down to adjust your shoe, your shoelaces, your Velcro, whatever it is, your coordination of intention and moving and presence come together in a concentrated mini effort. That's awareness flowing through your day. And then releasing, taking a full breath, and releasing again. Noticing the contact with the floor. Imagining all the wood and cement and structure that supports the floor. Imagine the support of the earth beneath. And again, open your imagination to swimming in a sea of chi, of change. Chi exchanging between the earth and your body, exchanging between the heavens and your body. As you step out today and walk into the street, you may run into somebody and there'll be an exchange of smiles. There'll be exchange of energy. That energy for that smile in each person came from the earth and the sky and came together in that relationship that's established. How many of those will you have today? So we plant seeds of awareness with simple movements, and then my favorite one is opening to the side and bringing it all together. Knowing that it's all going to get integrated into all the relationships I have with close friends here, distant acquaintances other places, close friends at home. It all gets integrated all day long. Have a peaceful day.
Good morning, Sangha. If you don't know who I am, my name is Avi. I'm community coordinator here. We are about to enact the very ancient ritual of announcements. It's interesting when during the transition time between the end of the Qigong and the start of the announcements, it seems like there's a rush for the door, so I can tell who the hardcore Sangha members are. So we have a number of things going on. First thing today, we've got our monthly meeting of the Engaging the Dharma initiative. This is our Sangha-wide program to take... You're ready to speak on that. You want to say something about that? Well, okay, sure. All right, so... All right, here. So hey, we have a surprise announcer. It's all right.
My name is Tia. I'm part of the Engaging the Dharma initiative. Today, right at 12:15, if you would like to join us, we're going to talk about two different environmental groups that have engaged in climate change, reversing climate change. And one of them is called One Earth Sangha. It's a expressing a Buddhist response to global warming and the environmental crisis. And the other group is called Pachamama Alliance, and their initiative called the Drawdown Initiative, where we learn a little bit more about very specific ways to bring carbon, offset carbon back into the earth. So we're going to spend just like 20 minutes on each one and be done by 1 o'clock, so I'm hoping that will bring more of you down there. I wanted to express that we started this initiative, Engaging the Dharma, here at PIMC almost a year ago, and we had a survey, and I just wanted to read that 75% of the respondents were very passionate about climate change, and 65% think that PIMC could be more engaged with social and environmental issues. So this is part of our response to bring some of that information and education to you all. And I hope you'll join us. Thanks. Thank you.
Sure. So that's going to start during tea and coffee time. It'll be in the back of the living room. So if you have an interest in seeing how we take what we learn on the cushion and extending it out into the community in terms of mindful action, please join us. Even if you've never done it before, we're a very welcoming group. Then on Sunday, August 11th, which is next Sunday, we have our second Sunday PIMC potluck, where you reveal your top secret family recipes for the Sangha to enjoy. And then on Tuesday, August 13th, there is no NVC practice this month. If you attend that every month, it's going to be taking a month off, and will return in September. Then on Saturday, August 17th, we've got another edition of Buddhist Movie Night. We are screening Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, and Spring. A really amazing Korean movie. You might want to look it up on our website. The details are there. Then let's see, what else we got here? Then also on Saturday, August 17th, Jim's next edition of his Qigong half-day retreat is going to be happening. Details will be on the website shortly. If you like what he did for 10 minutes, you'll love what he does for 4 hours. And then, let's see, on Saturday, August 31st, please save the date because Vic is going to be doing another one of his mindful hikes. Vic, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say? Change the date, huh? Maybe not. Okay, all right, my mistake. So on Saturday, August 24th is going to be the next mindful hike with Vic. Vic, could you raise your hand, please? If you have any questions, he'd be happy to talk with you about it. And then on Saturday, September 7th, we've got our next first Saturday monthly day-long retreat. And then let's see, we've got some volunteer stuff. Kirsten? I think you've got some announcements of your own to make. Needs to be turned on.
Check. Okay. Hi, I'm Kirsten. I've been volunteer coordinator here for the past 3 years or so. Next Sunday is my last Sunday before I move to Boulder, and so I have an important announcement. Ipsia and Misty, would you come up? These two fabulous ladies who have been volunteering are going to take over for me. So, yeah. So, as of this Sunday, I'm going to spend some time with them just going over some things. We've been talking for a while about this, but from here forward, if you're wanting to volunteer, please approach one of these two wonderful ladies. They've been involved here for a long time. They know the ins and outs of everything. And they're going to be co-volunteer coordinators so that they can carry that torch forward together. So thank you all, and I do hope to all see you next Sunday. It will be my last time for a while. I promise to come back, but thank you.
Oh, would someone turn on the lights, please? Outside to the right, and then look across, and then push all the little things up. Yes. If we're attempting to send a video signal out to the world, it's useful to have light. Jim, would you grab Ruth's photo for me? And where's her little pagoda? Thank you. May I have one of those sheets, just in case? Thank you. Perfect, you got two. Sabe Sankara Anicca, said the Buddha. All conditioned phenomena are impermanent. The people who study such things say that 14 point some billion years ago, an event happened. Our old friend Jack Samura, physicist, said the universe burped. Something happened, and out of nothing came this universe, which has billions of galaxies. And since then, there's been absolutely nothing except constant change. Right? Stars forming, exploding, galaxies colliding. And somewhere along those 14.2 billion years, I thought my voice was going to hold for the morning. Maybe it will still. The earth was born, and it went through cataclysmic changes. And then the beings, the plant and animal beings, changed the atmosphere remarkably, not so long ago, into an oxygen atmosphere. And very recently I read an article that had a big effect on me. It was in the Atlantic, as I recall, maybe the New Yorker. The asteroid story. Not so long ago, the time of the dinosaurs, a big rock hit the earth. And among the things that really sunk in for me was that the rebound of molten rock went a third of the way to the moon. And as it fell, the earth turned and all of India burned. What's now India. And it wiped out the dinosaurs. And around the planet, there's a layer of this detritus that fell that's about a half an inch thick. And there's the before and after is very discrete, and it's the whole planet. And it's because of that cataclysm that we're here, because mammals were little tiny things up till then, and that we had to clean the slate, it's the greater we. We had to clean the slate for us to come into ascendancy. And then a few eye blinks ago, I was born. And so were you. And we went through somebody training to become somebody. And we become very identified with being somebody. And before very long, our somebodyness will disappear. Because we're part of it. We're part of the mysterious coming and going. So this flower keeps calling to me. Thank you for the flowers. Oh, let's do 2. I love roses in particular. Yes. Goodbye. A person could get a yellow nose on these. They have their pistils, I think it's called. There's a story from the time of the Buddha where he gave a very erudite talk. I think it may have been, it's attributed to the 12 steps of dependent origination. A very complex talk about something very simple, which is that our actions have results. But anyway, there were 2 brothers, one of whom was very bright, and the other one who wasn't so bright in that way, that intellectual way. And the really bright brother got it, had a profound awakening listening to the Buddha, and the other brother went to the Buddha and said, I'm going to disrobe and not continue because I can hardly understand these complicated talks you give. And the Buddha said, don't worry about it. Come tomorrow morning and I'll give you a practice that will suit you. And so, in fact, he did. And the next morning, the Buddha handed him a flower and said, here, watch this all day. When your mind wanders, come back to seeing this. And so he went off and watched. And you can predict what happened, right? It just slowly wilted in front of him. And at some point during that, it provoked his intuition in such a way that he really got it. Everything really is impermanent, including the self, including the I, me, mine, including all our loved ones, including everything. I'm going to pass these around, so please take it. Maybe start. Let's send another rose. No, let's send a different. Oh, look at this little micro roses, beautiful. Let's send them in different directions.
Robert, do you want some water?
I have some, thank you. It's not. It's. I should drink some more. Water. One time at camping, a long time ago, my daughter was little. She still wants to hear this story. She said, tell me a story. And I said, well, I told her the story about little Drip. And now little Drip, his story begins in the ocean. And then the sun takes little Drip up, and of course little Drip is genderless, ultimately. And so anyway, the clouds then traveled, and then they got over the mountains, and then they dropped their water. And I turned it into about a 25-minute story because I was trying to bore her to death to go to sleep. And then it came down the river, it fell on the mountains, it turned to snow, and it was there for hundreds of years, and then it melted, and then it came down the river, and then it was this, and then we drink it, and then it got exciting, because we drank it and used it, and then we took it to places it couldn't get to otherwise, which is the purpose of us, and then we peed somewhere, and then it went down into the river, and then it went back to the ocean, and it did this thousands and thousands of times. Which is true, isn't it? This water, which according to one theory, actually came to us as snow and ice from space. They put up a satellite a few years ago that measured the incoming snow and ice, the ice crystals coming in. And if you measure the rate that they're coming in and the volume of the water on the earth, it's within 2% or 1%. Kind of interesting. So this, imagine that, was ice, snow coming in from space. From where it got, how it got to there, who knows? So anicca. Anicca is the word for anicca, means not permanent. There are three central hypotheses in the Buddha's teaching. And the entire path, the entire mystical side of the path of direct realization, I am going to need you to close those, is asking the question and then carrying out the experiment. First one is, the hypothesis is, you'll never find anything that's not changing. In fact, you'll never find anything, you'll never find a noun, if you look closely, because everything is in constant alteration. The second one is, you won't find a place where you are satisfied and can park. Because nothing results in that kind of satisfaction, because it's always in change. And then the third one, which is, I always find sort of the most exciting, which is that if we train the mind so we can get out of the fantasy land, out of the imagination, and into direct observation, you will never find a self. You won't find someone. What you will find is the universe that's aware of itself. Now, these are pretty big statements, right? Anicca means not permanent. Dukkha is unsatisfactoriness, suffering. And anatta means literally no soul. Now that no soul business kind of sticks in the craw for a lot of us, because many of us, whether we were religious or not, we grew up in communities where there was really belief in a soul, an enduring something that when I die it will go up or down, or so the Buddha taught something really different, which was the path of realization and freedom, so that we can actually live much more happily, because we live in keeping with the way things actually are, which is the Dharma. And I'm prompted to speak of this today. It is a very common topic to speak about, but a member of our extended family of sorts, my stepdaughter's best friend's father, passed away in the last few days. He had a pretty massive stroke. He had an aneurysm 15 years ago in the brainstem, and then he had a massive stroke. His wife, Susan, came home to find him on the floor. And they did surgery, and they managed to keep him alive for a little while. And he experienced what's called locked-in syndrome. There's an amazing movie called The Butterfly and the Diving Bell and the Butterfly. I highly recommend it. It's really powerful to watch. There was a fellow in France who had a terrible car accident, and he had this experience, and he stayed alive for I think 12 or 15 months, and he wrote a book by blinking. And he wrote the book of the experience of being a consciousness inside a form that couldn't move anything other than one eye. And it's powerfully recorded. Anyway, Steve Potter, 58 years old, stayed alive. He was alive and quite communicative, and got to say goodbye to everybody. The family, we were not there. We went to visit the home after, but and then they asked him, "What do you want?" And he said, basically, "I don't want to do this." And so day before yesterday afternoon, they removed the machines, and he expired. Poof. Not someone I knew real well. At the graduation party for the girls 2-3 weeks ago, we had a wonderful conversation. What an incredible man. We talked about meditation, and he said, well, maybe we'll come and visit someday. So he could have walked through the doors here. Now he won't. But it really drove home to me. Oh, and then I have a dear friend, Larry Thornton Jones, some of you know. He's taught here once or twice. He has a very, very good friend in elsewhere, who's decided to stop his chemotherapy and let his life end. And how many of you know some circumstance like this that's happening right now? Yeah, it's not alien to us as humans. It's the norm. 150,000 people on average die on the earth every day. Get that number? 150,000. About 185,000 are born. So we have a net gain every day of 35,000 or so, which could be part of the problem. What do you think? So, we don't like to think about this because it touches something in us that's kind of scared. Because we have that, well, what if that happened to me? And then, of course, well, it is going to happen to us. Well, what if that happened to my partner or my wife or my dog or my cat? It is going to happen. And we spend a lot of time and energy and money on avoiding that reflection because it's uncomfortable. How many of you have an advance directive in place? How many of you don't have one in place? Notice that your hand is up. It's crazy not to have an advance directive. And you can download one, Oregon Advance Directive, download it and fill it in. And the questions are very simple. I could fill it in with my eyes closed almost. If the chances of you recovering consciousness ever are minimal, do you want tube feeding, this, or not? And so what you do is you fill it in and you get it. You have to have two people who are not benefiting from your will sign it, and then you're set. And then your loved ones will know what to do. Otherwise, it's a mess. And the medical world is legally bound to keep you alive. And we hear, you hear these crazy stories of people staying intubated and breathing, or not able to breathe. So then the question would be, well, why haven't you done an advance directive? And I think it's denial. It's I don't want to think about that. Similarly, having a will. Who doesn't have a will? Please raise your hands. Wills are also really easy. You know, a legal, you can get an attorney to do a will, but you can also download one online, a legal will for Oregon, and you can do it. Because if you don't have a will, the state takes over your assets. And then they distribute them according to the laws. Then it may not be distributed in anything near what you would like. So why don't we want to think about it? Well, there's a certain about it, right? And there's the hope, well, maybe it won't happen. But I'm kind of convinced every time something happens like what happened with Steve, it's right here at home again. So for the love of your loved ones, I recommend highly you put those things in place. We're going to have a couple of events. I don't know them offhand. The death and dying doulas are coming in the fall, right? Yeah. Anyway, in support of this, we're having some incredible people come and do some teaching here in the fall. And also, I'm offering a class starting in September. Did you talk about the classes being online? Not yet, no. Okay. Where is it on the website that I can easily direct people to it?
Well, it doesn't exist on the website yet, but it will be on the homepage.
It's not on yet. Ah, okay. But we did send something out to, we didn't. We haven't announced it yet. Ah. I am the harbinger of good news. Very early next week, something will arrive in your email box and go up on the website, which has, I believe it's 8 classes that are happening at PIMC starting in the fall. Thanks to Gregory and Avi's putting it together, we now have a curriculum. And so you can look at it and see what shall I study here at PIMC this fall with all the teachers. And mine is a how to live well and die well, basically, using the book, Frank Ostaszewski's book, The 5 Invitations. So we'll be reflecting on this question that I'm talking about here right now, a bunch. So I want to share with you something that the Buddha recommended as daily recollections, a practice to do every day. And one way I want to do it is to use my guitar and invite you to sit comfortably and just follow along with what I suggest. Is that coming out there? You can hear it there? So I'm going to read these. You maybe let your eyes close. We'll do it as a contemplation meditation. Maybe you repeat them inside your own heart silently. I am of the nature to age. I have not gone beyond aging. I am of the nature to age. I have not gone beyond aging. Is this true? Is it true that you are still subject to aging? I am of the nature to sicken. I have not gone beyond sickness. I am of the nature to sicken. I have not gone beyond sickness. Is this true? Is this something you quietly worry about in the background? Am I going to get sick? Is this the sickness that will impair me or take me down? I am of the nature to die. Is this true? Is the fear of dying somewhere in the background, and does it affect your life? All that is mine, beloved and pleasing, will become otherwise. Will become separated from me. Is this true? All that is mine, dear and beloved, everyone with whom I am in relationship, will become separated from me. All that is mine, beloved and pleasing, will become otherwise, will become separated from me. Is this true? Is this true of my parents? My friends, my child or children, my spouse or partner? Is this true of those I hold as the enemy? All that is mine, beloved and pleasing, will become otherwise, will become separated from me. I am the owner of my actions, my intentional actions. I am the owner of my karma, heir to my karma, born of my karma, related to my karma, abide supported by my karma. Whatever intentional actions I shall do, for good or for ill, of that I will be the heir. Is this true? I am the owner of my intentional actions, heir to my intentional actions, born of my intentional actions, related to my karma, abide supported by my karma. Whatever karma I shall do for good or for ill, of that I will be the heir. Thus should you frequently recollect, said the Buddha. I am of the nature to age. I have not gone beyond aging. Is this true? I am of the nature to sicken, to fall ill. I have not gone beyond sickness. Is this true? I am of the nature to die. I've not gone beyond dying. Is this true? All that is mine, beloved and pleasing, will become otherwise, will become separated from me. I am the owner of my karma, heir to my karma, born of my karma, related to my karma, abide supported by my karma. Whatever karma I shall do, for good or for ill, of that I will be the heir. Thus should we frequently recollect. Sabe Sankara Anicca, said the Buddha. These are pretty potent contemplations, aren't they? There's no telling what. It's like we launch these truths into our being, and there's really no telling what they will strike. They might strike a recent loss, in which case there could be some sadness, or they might strike. Just remembered, my son is 36, 2 grandchildren. Young, 2 years and a bit and a few months. He was 7 months old when I took him to Brightonbush. Stephen Levine was doing a death and dying retreat. And he told the story, the Ajahn Chah story, attributed to Ajahn Chah, of the cup. And he's got this cup, and one of his students who's going through a really hard time approaches him and says, Ajahn Chah, you seem so happy. How can you be happy in a world where everything's crumbling like it is? And Ajahn Chah took his cup and said, you see this cup? For me, this cup is already broken. Because there will come a time when I drop it, or something happens and it will break. And then I'll recognize it. See, I knew it. It was already broken. But in the meantime, between now and then, I can enjoy it so much because I recognize its temporary nature. So then live with your cup as though it's already broken. And then I don't know whether it was directed at me because I was there with the baby in my arms, but Stephen then said, live with your cup as though it's already broken. Live with your loved ones as though they were already dead. Now that's not a thought a father wants to have with his baby, But what a wonderful thing it was because of the impact it's had in my life and his life of recognizing the preciousness. Right? We do have these moments of contact, and all we have is moments. That's so clear to me. We have moments. And then, maybe like with that family, they live out in Hillsborough now. No, beyond Forest Grove. There's the date to go and hang out, and so there's driving out there, and then there's, oh, hi, and the kids are there, and then we have a short time or a longer time or a medium length of time, and then, danged if I'm not always back in the car headed for home. And that's true with my wife Jennifer and with each of you that I get to have an encounter with. It always exists in time. And so therefore, if we do get to have a moment to connect, what a nice thing. So it's not about becoming gloomy and doomy. It's about becoming more and more joyful and more delighted in each other's being because of the very tenuous and time-bound nature of all of our relationships. One more thread I want to bring in. Oh goodness, look at the time. The more we learn to live in the present moment, the more we are not lost in fantasy and dream state. I'm right about this, I'm wrong about that. He said, she said, we said, what if this happened? All that fantasy. The more we're actually here, the more we experience life as a kind of, this is a great word, it's a tachistoscopic presentation. It's like, that's the way, because that's the way life is. It presents itself and then it's gone. Oh, another meal came and went. Oh, that's interesting. So, and that is, I believe, part of the path to freedom when we realize that it is not possible to hold on to anything. Right? We can't hold on to anything. It doesn't mean we can't have our influence, but we're really in control of nothing. Even the I that likes to think that it's in control, if we watch really closely, it too is vaporous. How about this? I am going to control my mind and sit here wide awake. Back. What happened? That I is discontinuous. What a strange thing. So I would like to invite you to share a response to this or something that has become clearer to you about impermanence and the preciousness of our relationships. So the microphone would love to come to you. It works like this. You speak into it and it magnifies your voice. Please, Denise. Please say your name before you speak too, okay?
Hi, my name's Denise, and I wanted to go back to the advanced directives. I've been a nurse for 25 years, 20 of it in ICU, and I cannot speak to how important it is to have an advanced directive and how important it is to jump up and down and talk to your family members about what your wishes are and what is and is not tolerable regarding your quality of life. If you have an advance directive and nobody knows, they will fight like crazy and it becomes a great big mess. So it needs to be written down and your family needs to know about it. I'm willing to approach my employer tomorrow to bring in like 20 copies of advance directives. They're very easy to fill out. I'll be here next Sunday after potluck if anybody would like to talk about it. I can coach you and tell you what the words mean and how it can play out. So if anybody's interested in that, I'll be here next Sunday.
Fantastic. Can you bring 20 or 30 copies?
Yes.
Great. Woohoo. The stakes rise. Who would like to speak next? Anybody?
Hi, I'm Therese, and
Please hold it up close, Therese.
sorry.
It's hard to do, but
I
we
know,
can't hear you
it's-
if you
it's
don't.
so weird. Anyhow, oh, okay. Anyhow, I second what Denise said about advanced directive. I, too, have been a nurse for many, many years, and it's really sad when families don't know what to do, and they're faced with that choice, and they're just freaking out, and that's unkind to your family or loved ones to put them in that position. And the other thing I wanted to say about impermanence is I've worked a lot with people who are seriously ill and are dying or have died, and I've got to know a lot of people. I was an oncology nurse for many years, and I've got to tell you that the people that I've really talked with, no one ever said that they regretted not getting more stuff or more money. They've always said that they've regretted, not having spent time with loved ones or loved enough. So, my patients have been my best spiritual teachers, and I've always, stuck with that it's not about the stuff, it's about the love.
That would be a great bumper sticker, right? Mickey, across the way. Always something.
I was going to share about the idea of not self or anatta that you were talking about. The last few months I've been studying non-dual ideas, the idea that there's not really a separation between anything, I guess, like a separate self and then others. And before I started it, when I was just reading about it, all the teachers who talked about it said that it resulted in a diminishing of fear and anxiety. And that's been my experience. Just being able to kind of read and think about the idea of not being separate from people, not having some self to have to defend, or carrying stories from childhood like, oh, people look at me this way and not that way. It just takes away all of this energy. And the paradox for me has been that, you might think, oh, if my idea of myself goes away, I'll just be this person in a gray room eating saltines and drinking water or something. Like there's nothing left, but it's not really true. Just, I feel more present, maybe because there's not some concept of myself that I'm worrying about in, whatever kind of neurotic way or narcissistic way. So that was it.
Thank you, Mickey.
Hi, my name is David, and people may see me grinning sometimes here, and it's because I just want to acknowledge you all as leading observational scientists. Non-locality is real. It was proven in 2015. You are not you. Nothing is contained in the single container. The fact that we have quantum communication satellites in the air right now is because of non-locality. So you don't need any strange book. You can just look up in the sky and know that it works that way.
Hi, I'm Wally, and I just want to talk about the mug, or the cup. My wife took my favorite retreat mug, which is a metal mug my brother-in-law gave me, 20 years ago, and left it on the roof of her car and went driving off, and of course it falls and crashes, and it's all broken. And she's like, oh, well, it's metal, it's survivable. And she's expecting a really big reaction from me, and my reaction was, it was already broken. That was the end of our discussion about it with her and me. It's just, it's gone. That whole issue is gone. It's a great way to maintain peace in the family. When somebody breaks something, realize it was already broken
Yeah.
and move on.
There's a very funny and educational frame in the living room. Paul Levine, which is anyway. Oh, there's Paul. Paul created it's cracked, and it says it's already broken. It came that way. It came broken. Yay! So somebody else.
Yes, my name is Ren. I'm very grateful for the talk and for the space being held. I really deeply resonated with the, just that moment of thinking of the amount of people per day being born or dying, and I thought of Pema Chodron speaking of death and dying, and certain meeting people on their deathbeds, and kind of offering the teaching of connecting with all of the bodies dying and all of the souls dying, and kind of that moment of connecting to the greater sense, and also how I've kind of taken that like Tonglen teaching into my life and the practice of Tonglen, and even just like during times of eating, eating in joy for those who don't have sustenance, and eating.
Please hold a little closer.
Yeah, for those who are eating and who might not be able to eat. On days I've been really depressed, or have experienced darkness, connecting with the thousands and thousands of other people who might be experiencing that themselves, and not feeling lonely in that, and knowing that I can reach out also to those thousands and thousands and millions of people who might be experiencing happiness and joy in that moment as well, and know that I am connected to something greater than just my brief experience, my shallow depth of what I'm able to hold, and that's allowed me sometimes to carry me through those moments where I feel so alone and isolated in myself, and knowing that there's so much more around me. So just maybe that offering of Tonglen, that's something that I've really resonated with, and if anyone is curious about it, I'm happy to speak to it, and also just something to maybe look into, or a practice you might want to hold, is that even just the simplicity of I'm breathing for those right now who might be struggling with breathing, or in this pain in this moment, I'm breathing with all of those who are experiencing this pain as well. It's just it seems like a gift to be able to hold space for all beings, and knowing that we're all sharing that, so that impermanence, there's a gift in just being able to resonate with the flow that we're all in. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Are we hearing? They're not in the chute? Anybody else? Well, thank you. Well, maybe we could start moving toward a large circle, and then the kids will come in. Coming. Just point it over here. Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, it's dangerous. Anyone who would like to join us in the inner circle, please join us. You don't have to be a parent. Here they come. Yay! Batteries. Even batteries are impermanent, or especially batteries. Hi. I'm under your power. Hello. Wow. All right. So, may I hold your hand? A finger? Do you want to hold hands too? All right. May I hold your knee or your hand? So here we are at, in a way, the beginning. Please give the hand on your right a little squeeze like this. And say something in your heart nice to this person, like, may you be happy, or... And with your left hand, give that hand a squeeze and wish that person well. And so it is that we have hands. How lucky to have hands to hold and hold with. Please let us extend the merits of our practice to all beings. Those who are being born right now, those who are dying, those who have recently lost a loved one, to all beings everywhere. May all beings know happiness, the causes of happiness. And now, who is prepared to sing? Yes, that's exciting. All right. Now get it nice and close to your mouth. Get close. Oh.
I don't know if she wants to hold it.
You want to hold it too? You hold it too. Put your hand on.
Come on. Just put your hand on.
There you go. That's nice sharing. Now get close.
May all beings be happy. May all
Beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Wow, thank you. Very nice. Well, next thing to do is not yet. I'm gonna count to 3, and then the blowing happens. Not yet. You're just getting close. Well, hang on. I'm getting ready to count. Everyone in the group gets to do it too. Big breath in. 1, 2, 3, blow. Yes! Yay! Phew! Well, please introduce yourself to your neighbor and come and meet one another for some tea and goodies. Hi. Hi. To turn it. Oh, yeah. Push the button.